From the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Library of Congress. I'm Mary Jane Deeb, Chief of the African Middle East Division here, and I'm delighted to see you all here. And we are today co-sponsoring a wonderful program with our speaker, Mr. Mehdi Saeedi, who is a Persian designer and visual artist, and you probably already have had glimpses of his work as he was going through the images. And we're co-sponsoring, as we have on a number of other programs. We're co-sponsoring this with the University of Maryland, with the Roshan Center, and with Dr. Professor Fatima Kashavars, who has been an inspiration and a guiding light in all our programs, all our Persian programs, and many others. She has been with us, a partner, a friend, on our exhibit on the Persian book, and on the series that we've had since that exhibit, series on the Persian book, Persian literature, Persian philosophy. And this year has been the visual arts, Persian visual arts. Hence, the presence of Mr. Mehdi Saeedi. I always do this for our program. I have to say a few things about our division. And our division and our reading room here, our reading room is one of the 21 reading rooms of the Library of Congress. This one is the one that serves people, collections from 78 different countries. We have 3 sections: the African section, so it's the whole continent of Africa. We have the Near East section, which is quite expansionist, that goes from Morocco to Oman, that includes Iran and Turkey, but also Afghanistan, Central Asia, and the Caucasus, and as well as communities in China and in Russia and elsewhere. The focus of our work is not only that we recommend and acquire books from all these regions of the world. And we have the Hebraic section that you mentioned. The Hebraic section, we collect books from around the world. But the focus is on the vernacular, that is on the languages of these regions. In other words, for the Hebraic section, for example, we collect in Hebrew and Yiddish and Ladino. For the Near East section, we collect those materials that are in the language of the region. So Persian, Arabic, Turkish, Armenian, Georgian, and so many others. And we collect them here, meaning that these are the collections that are produced from those countries, about those countries, but by writers who write in the languages of those countries. And that's very important, because we also have collections in English, in French, in German, Italian, about the countries, about the 78 countries. But these are part of the general collection. And we treasure these materials, which come from all over the world. We have a big preservation division that takes care of them. We have manuscripts that are taken care of as if they were newborn babies. We have materials that no one else has, and we also have regular publications, books, serials, journals, etc. And we work cooperatively across the library, so with divisions such as the Geography and Map division that has maps of these countries, with prints and photographs that has photographs that go back to the beginning of photography, about these countries, with a law library that has the gazettes and those materials. So if you were to come here, you would work across the library. But this would be the area also where the specialists are, where the languages are spoken and written, and where we have brilliant people like our Persian specialist Hira Dinavari, who has been really an incredible force in expanding, developing our collections and our programs. We treasure our partners, and we have been working with the University of Maryland, with Professor Keshavarz for several years now, and all for the good. We have numerous projects with them, and this is a way to reach out to people, to young people who want to learn about the regions and the art and the culture of the countries that we represent. And we invite scholars, artists, writers, thinkers to our division to share with us their ideas, their viewpoints, their perspective, and their research. Now, when they're addressing you, they're not only addressing you, they're addressing the world, because we videotape our programs, we put them on the library's website, and then they're accessible across the board. And I won't say forever, but they're there permanently on our website. In other words, years from now, people will still be able to access today's speaker's presentation. He will be there because this is the way. We also advertise. We now have blogs, and the program has already appeared on our blog, and I know on the Library of the University of Maryland's blog as well. So we try to reach out to as many people to get them involved and to see what we have as our treasures. So I would like now to introduce our partner, Dr. Fatima Keshavarz, who is a poet, a writer, a great scholar, and as I was just telling her lately, a dynamo in terms of activities and at times of the work she's been doing on Iran. But let her talk about her institution. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mary Jane, and welcome everybody. It is an absolute pleasure to have this collaboration. We haven't found greater friends than you guys here, and you know, it's just mutual, everything you said. I'm not going to take a lot of time because I know my dear friend Hirad is going to introduce the artist. You're going to hear from a first-class artist with an amazing talent to combine letters of the alphabet and all kinds of artistic movements and creative ways of thinking about them. So, you know, we will let him speak about his work. Let me just say that in our traditions, that is, I'm now thinking of Middle East and Africa, an oral tradition, an exchange of person to person has been always at the foundation of all the writing. So while the writing is so important, there are these huge written treasures that we have here, the oral dimension of something going from one person to another has always been honored as a great way of learning. So we are absolutely delighted at Roshan Institute to have this opportunity here at the Library of Congress to voice that aspect of our learning, and looking forward to more. Welcome again. This is a hard time of the day to be here, so we appreciate all your coming. Thank you so much.
Everyone, thank you very much for your patience. I also want to add that this is a joint effort between three organizations, us, the Library of Congress, University of Maryland's Roshan Institute for Persian Studies, as well as the OFTOP committee, who has made this possible, working with the wonderful artist Mehdi Saeedi, who is here. Mehdi Saeedi is an internationally known artist and designer based in Philadelphia, who was born in Tehran. His aesthetics have become a mainstay of design in many parts of the world, especially regions that use the Persian and Arabic scripts. His special focus and proficiency is in typography or calligraphy and calligraphy, which leads him to be an expert in shaping of letters in the form of shapes, zoomographic and graphic design. Saeedi has taught in Iranian universities as well as held international workshops to bring the beauty of art and graphic design to those who with different linguistic backgrounds. He exhibited his work in more than 250 exhibitions and biannual events worldwide, and he has attended numerous local and international competitions as a jury member and also as a speaker. In 2013, he also founded the first international exhibition of type design as part of the Silver Cypress, the third biannual of Iranian Graphic Designers Society. There are several publications on his collections as well as selections of his artwork. The most recent one of these is the 2013 published work titled Form, Contour to Calligraphy. He is featured among 30 designers in the second edition publication of New Masters of Poster Design that features the best poster designers currently working all over the world. His name is also listed in Meg's History of Graphic Design. Now, I can go on and on and on, but he has a page this big of awards. And instead of taking time, I'll just say that I see awards here from Ukraine to Taiwan, of course, Iran, a whole slew of different countries and places that he has been and won awards in. Without taking any further time, I would like to allow him to show his art. Mehdi Jan, kheli khosh amadi. Please come on in.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for coming today. I'm very glad to be here, and I want to thank to Library of Congress to invited me, and Mr. Hirat, especially Mr. Hirat, and Dr. Shavars, and Aftab Committee, Shahruz, Mr. Shahruz. Okay, when I was little, I want to be singer. Back then, I used to be good at it. I had completely forgotten about it. Until 1 month ago, I got a video for my birthday and was surprised to find little Mehdi in the video, holding a microphone and singing into it. I want to show you the video. Unfortunately, the file doesn't work here. So that was my dream back then, and look what happened to it. Of course, I'm holding a microphone right now, but I'm not singing, I'm lecturing on graphic design. People do not always live out their childhood dream, but I'm very happy to be a graphic designer. However, these things turn out differently for my older brother, who you see in the video. He used to play with the camera as the kid, and now he is one of the best photojournalists in Iran. He works for Getty Images photo agency. He works published in New York Times, Le Monde, and other famous magazines. I'm gonna show some of his works during my lecture. So, anyway, actually, yeah, this is and this is my mom. We will back to the presentation. Okay, I did not live out my childhood dream, but I found many links between singing, music, and graphic designer. Maybe that is why I will design many posters for music festival. In fact, my first professional poster was designed for the most important music festival in Iran. The poster was this poster. The poster was so ingenious back then, everyone wanted to know who the designer was. Another reasons the poster gained widespread attention was that there were over 100,000 prints in cities all over Iran. After designing that poster, I wondered which part of graphic designer I should focus on that. First, to give me work prominence in graphic design, and second, I will make a career out of it. It was then, I remember some things my professor said. He told me if you want your work to last and if you want to gain money and fame, you just have to do your job and do it well with love. As if you are not going to get paid. I heard what I needed heard from my professor. I'm a good listener because what I wanted required patience and practice requires love. So I made a list of places I wanted to work with. For example, Tehran Museum Contemporary of Art, Academy of Art, international film and music festivals, and cultural and art centers. After, at the first, I went to the Museum Contemporary Art in Tehran, which is one of the most important museums in Tehran and Iran. After a series of the meeting and visit, they offered me a commission, but it was not easy job. The manager said they needed a poster for an exhibition for a traditional Chinese painter. They didn't have any portrait of her, nor a picture of her works. They only had a short, handwritten Persian text. Here is the text, just this. They gave me no information, and to make matters worse, they wanted to design an invitation card for the next day, just next day, one day. And I started working right away. The first things I did was draw a vertical frame that reflected the atmosphere East Asian art. Then I used the image on the internet, the image because the main element of the poster, but I feel like I needed another element. So I began to design the title of the exhibition in Farsi. I decided to rotate the Persian letters so that they remind people to Chinese characters. I worked non-stop to design the poster. This is a result of what I designed in less than 24 hours. The funny thing is that designing the title for that poster led to the create of the new Persian font. This is a start. I want to, trying to design a typeface, Farsi typeface, based on the Chinese characters. As you may know, the Persian letters alphabet consisted of 32 letters, and it is written from the right to left. The image of the right shows the separated Persian letters. In the middle, you can see all of the connected letters. The last image shows the sample of the word AGI, which is the type with the neo font. The creation of this form led to the series of neo words that I want to show you. This poster for Turning Point for British sculpture of the Tehran Museum Contemporary of Art. This poster of exhibition of selected work by French artist Armand Pierre Fernandez at the Museum Contemporary of Art. This poster was designed for honoring the famous Iranian writer Sadegh Hedayat. I designed the writer's face by considering the sentence he wrote just before his death, "I'm going to see you on Judgment Day," and the surrealistic atmosphere of his work. The first meeting for the introducing the Tehran Cultural Personality of the Year. The proverb, "When is the room, do as the Romans do." At this point, clients were getting attracted to my work, but I didn't want my work to be repetitive. So after creating the font you just saw, I worked on neo fonts. I started to sketches. And finally, I create my second font. This is the first things actually I did with this font was use it in the photo biennale for the poster, invitation card, and book design. I also used the font on the wall clock. After that, I tried to use Persian calligraphy because I think it is the most important artistic element in Iran. So I added modern and formalistic calligraphy, not traditional style, to my work. Like this, one of the sketches of the poster Iranian Spring. This poster, part of exhibition of Iranian art in the Paris entitled Iranian Spring. These images are a calendar of calligraphy painting on paperboard. This is a book cover for Sheikh Zayed Grand Mosque, one of the great mosques of the world. And these are the images from the inside of the book. Okay. The late Jazet Tabatabai was one of the most famous sculptors from Iran. I designed a poster with the typography that expresses his work and also his physical appearance. As you can see, he's a big guy. The color and texture of the poster are also associated with his sculpture. This is a book cover was down for Persian mistake, proverb. I'm in love. This is a title, actually. I designed his work to honor Turkish poet Yunus Emre. His poetry is romantic and minimal. In this poster, I used the word "ishq", meaning in Persian, love in Persian. Since his poems were minimalistic, I omitted the word "ishq" itself and kept the 5 dots instead. As you see, these works were close to formalistic calligraphy, pure from without any specific shapes. Later, I thought, how could I convey Iranian symbols and at the same time attracted not Iranian audiences? I wanted my work to be understandable for all of the people, not just for Iranian. You know, this image is most important, important visual element that you can communicate with everyone. Even when a child sees a picture, he or she can easily understand it, or consider people who don't know who to read and write. Even those people cannot can read images. Therefore, I did some research on traditional calligraphy and image. I found my answer to all of my questions in looking at work from 14th century, when calligraphers used the writing symbol in the pictorial form and had a static religious objective. That was just what I was looking for. It was both calligraphy and images, something that everyone could understand, but here existed a challenge. If I were to do same things, it wouldn't be considering new art. So I explored new methods. The result I want to show you. These images related to the sketches for the poster 9 Iranian graphic design biennale, and this is the final works. Yes, it's similar. And on the cover, Echo Time magazine. For honoring 400 years of publication novel Don Quixote, and also Billboard. For international music festivals, Safiuddin Urmabi is one of the most outstanding Iranian musician and calligrapher of the 13th century. Since he was known as a creator of the tambur, an Iranian musical instrument, and a great calligrapher, I tried to design his figure playing the Persian tambur by calligraphic writing with his name. Shiraz, Persian Paradise. It was designed for the Shiraz Art and Cultural Exhibition in France. This poster involved an exhibition of the paintings of 3 Iranian women entitled 3 Iranian Looks. This is sketches of Garden of Iran. The theme of the poster in Garden of Iran, Asians, Wisdom, New Vision. It was designed for an exhibition with the same title for the Tehran Museum of Contemporary Art. And this is the final work. A well digger is at the well bottom. This work was designed based on concept of Iranian proverb. That means when a person creates a problem for other, he himself will be troubled later. The Shams Tabrizi Festival, this is a poster for Shams Tabrizi Festival. Shams Tabrizi is one of the most famous Persian poets who wrote many poems. He was also close friend of the Rumi. Eastern, my exhibition in Missouri State University. Rumi 800th birthday celebration. The poster was Sunshine Way from Balkh to Konya. I want to show you the process of my works here. You can see. And this is a final. "2012 Years of Dragon." Iranian traditional music in Australia. The first international conferences of architecture and globalization, combination of architecture in Iran and Japan. This poster was designed for the campaign supporting music, for music concert in church, Song of Solomon and the Angel. Book cover for novel Rise of the Shams. After my cooperation with the cultural centers and gaining a better understanding of society in which I had lived, I began to think about politics and social issues where I was living. Yes, Iran. Can you tell me what's come to your mind when you hear the name of Iran? I'm asking you. The both. Poetry, yes. And others? Shahnameh, yes. Very positive things. Okay, good. First, let's look at the Iranian from a tourist perspective. This short film is made by a Chinese woman and shows her perspective toward Iran.
Baby, it's time to go to Iran.
Yeah, that's the Iranian style.
Well, when I heard Iran names, I think about some certain things. First, 7,000 years. Yes, 7,000 years old cultural architecture and calligraphy. Second, Middle Eastern oil and politics. My realization were in the line with the with the wars in Lebanon, Afghanistan, and later Iraq, and the news, innocent people getting killed. My brother, who is the photographer who I told you about in the beginning, used to travel to these countries. He shared his photos with us before shared them with the news. Our feelings were differently from what the news of the TV and radio were announcing. They are some of my brother's photos. They had impacted me and my art. From then, I decided to feel full free, my duty as a human toward to even taking place, and trying to change perspective of society, or at least draw its attention to these problems. So I began to design topic with where my own concern and I couldn't get them out of my head. This concern of mine didn't have any client, most of them because 90% of the social and political works are not ordered by anyone as a job. This poster for the racism. Child labor. The word exploding. In Iranian cultural, pomegranate is symbol of life. Here I liken the word pomegranate and I use repetition of the letters of the exploding word to show the massive crowd of the word, and it is the resulting pollution. The pollution rises as a word exploding inside. AIDS, mind your play. And God created man free. Free thought, free writing, and free election are main element of democracy. This series of interactive posters use familiar and understandable symbols for the public. It's designed in a way to involve the audience in effect when faced with this symbol of democracy with the two black lines and transparent paper layer with the title "Democracy Does Not Work" covered one way, then cover is removed to show that democracy can work. Poster of Congress of Society Pathology in Iran. This poster designed for Human Rights Conference in Penn University. I was asked by police bureau in Iran to design a poster related to police performance. I spoke to different people about the politics in general. I conclude the most complaint about intercity insecurity at the night. The police bureau considered the slogan for the poster, police discipline, security, turn quality. I thought about two posters with the one main idea. In this first poster, I chose the suggested slogan in the bold, prominent way. I choose this title, Police in the Day. And the title of the second one is Police at the Night. Its background is black and we can't see any sign of evidence of police. In 2011, I had the opportunity to work in Germany and I create two projects. The one project is about animal. Every day I saw iron bar installed on the entrance shops, neon letters, panel, and so on away in my studio. Since I had not seen them in my country, I wondered what was their use. Then I asked shopkeeper about them, and I heard sad response. These iron bar are for the silent pigeons to prevent them for sitting there. The interesting part was that I had seen great demonstration in support of animals, in which those shopkeepers also participated. The contradiction in this behavior made me design a poster for this issue. In doing that, I tried to use the flashy neon letters with those pigeon control on them of my poster entitled "Be Kind to All Animals." And this is a second project I had in Germany. This is an installation entitled Racism Crushes the Human Spirit. I used image of African face on poster board, crumbling its features to represent the effect of racism and underscored it. With the piece of writing, the Persian, all human are equal, keeping black and white them. The poster was displayed in the darkened room, along with the mass of 1,000 pieces of the crumbled paper on the ground, each with the image of the different face along with the anti-racist slogans we routinely heard but don't really think about with much depth. Visitor can unfold the papers symbolically trying to undo damage of racism. I want to show you what's happened for installation. Ladies and gentlemen, I represent new symbol of peace. This is my last poster. I want to show you a project recently I worked about the Shahnameh, and I want to show you how it works, based on the subject.
دلیری کجا نام او اشک بود همی برخروشید بر سان کوس بیامد که جوید ز ایران نبرد سر هم نبرد اندر آورد به گرد خروشید که ای مرد رزم آزمای غم آوردت آمد مشو باز جای بدو گفت خندان که نام تو چیست تن بی سرت را که خواهد گریست به شهر تو شیر و نهنگ و پلنگ سوار اندر آیند هر سه به جنگ هم اکنون تو را ای نبرد سوار پیاده بیاموزمت کارزار پیاده مرا زان فرستاد توش که تا اسب بستانم از اشک بود چو ایران نباشد تن من مباد بدین بوم و بر زنده یک تن مباد
After living and working much of his life in Iran as an artist, Mehdi felt the need for a new cultural environment which could stimulate his creative process and inspire his new body of work. He started his inspirational journey by living short periods of time in Slovenia, France, and Germany, and ultimately he decided to move to a country where diverse cultures and nationalities could be found in one place. Consequently, he decided to move to the United States. Immigration has triggered a new perspective in his work, building on his existing accomplishments in Persian calligraphy and graphic design. Mehdi hails from a culture and ancient civilization where its collective history, art, and language has led him to create artwork, propelling him into being recognized as a distinguished Iranian artist. According to him, one of the more important challenges is to apply Persian script and at the same time connecting with an audience that does not share the same literature and transcript. The 10th century poet Ferdowsi is considered by many to be one of the greatest Persian poets to have ever lived. One of Ferdowsi's seminal works, Shahnameh, or the Book of Kings, is an enormous poetic opus and is the national epic of the Persian-speaking world. The Shahnameh tells the mythical and historical past of Iran, from the creation of the world up to Islam entering Iran in the 7th century, and is a splendid example of how culture moves across time and space, all of which has been the inspiration behind Mehdi's new series. The most well-known character of the Book of Kings, Rostam, represents Pahlivan, paladin, or a moral as well as physical champion, and symbolizes the collective knowledge of Iranians. He utilized various techniques that include calligraphy ink, acrylic paint, digital print, and also mixed media. In this new series, which consists of 10 pieces, he illustrates the most well-known characters of the Book of Kings. What makes this series even more unique is the complexity of the works, as metal ink was used to add texture to the images. These images correlate with images of battle scenes that are based on the descriptions from the book and inspired by its miniature paintings. Ultimately, the main element of the piece is the mirror. Mehdi believes that a piece that demonstrates an artist's vigorous eye for beauty should have hidden ideas behind it and be presented by a different creative method. Based on this, he has been pursuing a method by which the completed work expressed something new. By creating images using Persian calligraphy, whether it would be mixed media on canvas or through graphic design. His work is focused on the balance of images, and thus he has introduced the mirror as the symbol of reality, to strengthen the denotation of symmetry. The Book of Kings is a mirror of Iran's ancient myths and legends with accounts of major events in its past. In this new series, Mehdi tries to emphasize that even though the mirror is the symbol of reality, it does not always reflect what is real. At first glance, when one looks at the canvas alone, the viewer perceives an ambiguous and somewhat abstract image. However, after viewing both, the artwork with its reflection, from the right angle, the characters become vividly apparent.
Thank you for your attention.
That was a brilliant, brilliant show. Thank you everyone for coming. I know that we're at 1, but I would like to allot him at least 5 minutes of questions. Feel free to ask any questions, and I would direct it to him. And please speak loudly since there's only one microphone here. Go ahead. Your family.
You said that when you saw that 13th century image made out of calligraphy, you kind of found the answer to all the questions you had.
Yeah.
Can you say a little bit about it? I mean, I know calligraphy is beautiful and the way
Yes.
you say it helped, but it kind of surprised me because it seems like you're always exploring and going to new things and then looking at it. So how did that suddenly become like the answer to everything?
Actually, I was looking for some way to, as I told you in the lecture, to communicate with the audience. You know, the image is, biggest and important part. So based on that, I'm just trying to find something different and some things new, and but I don't want to, forget my culture and background. That's because, as I told you, the Iranian calligraphy, it's the biggest things in our culture. So based on that, I just thought, how can I, use the Persian and images together. And after that, I find it, this way. And after that, I try to, in the graphic design, because graphic design, you have to communicate with your audience. So based on that, for example, if I want to work for a music festival, I'm just trying to I made a picture based on the calligraphy, and at the same time can communicate with the audience, and also, and also you can see and you can feel about some things about the music. Yes. Any questions? Okay. Thank you.
Maybe of interest to others. Is there any way you can get any of these images? And do you have an exhibit or anywhere you can prints would be sold?
Yes, actually I had an exhibition, but unfortunately some bad happened for the gallery or something like that. It's canceled for, I had an exhibition in the Alex Gallery in September 2nd to 30, but unfortunately canceled, yes. Yeah, I hope in the new show in the, in the here again or another state. Yes. I don't know actually. Could you please repeat that? Sierra on? No, I don't know actually. Maybe someone. Yes, sure, yes. Yeah, of course, yes. My website is Mehdi Saeedi, www.mehdisaeedi.com, without any space between. Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you very much for coming. This was a wonderful program. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
This has been a presentation of the Library of Congress. Visit us at loc.gov.